For more on this, we're joined by Adi Imsirovic in Oxford in the UK. He's a lecturer in energy systems at the University of Oxford. Welcome back to the programme, Adi. Now, how critical are these investments to Asian economies that rely so heavily on imports from the Gulf for their energy security?
Hi, Dave, and good to be back again. I think what's really become very obvious with the latest war in Iran is that energy security has become #1 problem, and cost is kind of taken the second place. So I think you had a few pieces on China, for example. The same with the rest of Asia. The key is now to ensure security of supply of energy. And not just energy, but obviously, as you know, from oil, we're getting plastics, and coal is abundant in most of these countries, especially in Indonesia, that exports it as well. So I think that's obviously become a fallback. But, I just really hope for environmental reasons. I think that this is going just to be a temporary phenomenon until we move on to a more electrified future.
And which sectors do you see benefiting the most from these projects?
Well, yeah, I mean, basically, because it's a security issue, you will see, first of all, the companies that are benefiting are going to be domestic incumbents, because obviously the government will work, first of all, with domestic companies, with coal suppliers, with domestic, usually large, either energy or chemical companies. Before they go elsewhere, again, because of security of supply. So the beneficiaries will obviously be mining, are going to be heavy industry that will continue to be there together with chemical industry and so on. So just going back home, most of these companies are kind of turning back home, which unfortunately is not very good longer term for the global economy. Because if we all turn to our own resources, the old Ricardian economics is we all end up being poorer long term. So let's hope that this is just a temporary phase.
And do you think it would be enough to offset the gap occurring from the Hormuz blockade?
Well, no, it won't be, and it will take a very, very long time. I mean, we basically need this blockade to end very soon, because we are at the moment, if you allow me to use a parallel, at the moment, in terms of oil and gas supplies, particularly oil supplies, because gas is easier to find alternative. It's harder to store, but it's easier to find alternative like coal or like renewables and so on. Oil is a little bit harder to replace because of aircraft need jet fuel, and they can't use coal or anything like that. We also have road transportation, which is very hard to replace yet because EVs are not coming overnight. So I think we do need that old stock coming out. To use a parallel that I started early on, it's a little bit like when you lose a job. You get a bit fat paycheck, which is essentially our inventories that we have right now, and you still carry on spending money because you have that paycheck. But after two months of not having a luck with finding another job, you have to start worrying. And I think we are roughly at that stage.
So what other alternatives could these economies look into?
In terms of energy?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're all going back to a domestic coal. They're trying to increase domestic production. A lot of these countries are actually restricting or at least controlling exports, trying to keep more for themselves again, which makes the whole system less efficient. And yes, you're right, using coal, a lot of countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, where we've moved to LPG for home cooking. Because of lack of LPG, they're moving to traditional fuels again, where they had before, using wood, using organic materials. Yes, we will see more and more of that, basically going to the substitutes that where originally they came from.
And looking at the environmental factor, of course, how far back does this take us for the global green transition targets?
Well, not necessarily, I think. I think that there's very little talk of net zero these days, but I think the actual oil price and gas price is doing the work. I think a lot of people in the UK, for example, and Europe, there's been a massive uptake of electric vehicles. About over 40% of all the new vehicles in the UK sold are electric. people are buying more and more heat pumps in Europe in particular. In the UK, we have high electricity prices, unfortunately, but I look at in a lot of other places like my native Bosnia, for example, electricity prices are relatively low. Heat pumps are the obvious way to heat rather than buy expensive gas. So people are very, very rapidly moving on, even though it's going a little bit under radar. Before we had a situation when everyone was talking about net zero, but actually not doing very much. Right now, nobody's talking about it anymore, but actually everyone's actually doing something about it. So actually, I don't think it's going to set us back very much at all.
Right, Adi, we will have to leave it there for now. Adi Imsirovic from the University of Oxford, thank you very much.